My blindness started about, I'm going to say close to 12 years ago, but I didn't realize that I was losing my vision. I just thought I needed glasses. I met a doctor that said to me, "You have glaucoma." As a result of this glaucoma, I have lost my lens. I have no lens in my eyes. I have no peripheral vision whatsoever. I have no vision in the left eye at all. I have about 60% vision in the right eye. I thought, well, what in the world am I going to do with myself? Why me? Why me? But you know what? Why not me?
When I was about 19 weeks pregnant, we had an ultrasound done and learned that Grace had not fully developed hands or feet. When she was 4 days old, we learned that she had been born in renal failure, that she was at that point in stage 4 kidney failure, and her nephrologist told us that she had a 50-50 chance to live to her first birthday. When she was 6 weeks old, we learned that she had inherited my vision, that she is very nearsighted, and that she has congenital nystagmus. Very nearsighted meaning that she is legally blind with best corrected vision.
I was born with glaucoma, and I was legally blind my whole life. When I was in college, I got a secondary condition called cone rod dystrophy. And that condition was a little bit worse than the glaucoma that I was born with and caused me to lose a good bit of my central vision. Things are becoming harder to see, they're becoming dimmer. There's a very good chance that I could lose my sight entirely.
Lighthouse's mission is to chart a course for living, learning, and earning with vision loss. And there are hundreds of thousands of people just in Central Florida who can benefit from our services to really live life to its fullest, to take full advantage of education throughout life, and also to earn with dignity and pride, have a full life. And it's our mission to give people the tools that they need to do that with. Life is more than surviving. It's more than depending on friends and family to get you through the day. You should be able to do the activities that you're most comfortable with. You should still be able to golf if you want to cook, you want to go out with friends, and live independently. Take care of yourself, not have to depend on the kindness of strangers all the time. We teach people how to do that here at Lighthouse.
And when everything was getting worse and worse, my doctor says, "Have you been to the Lighthouse?" And I was like, what in the world is the Lighthouse? I don't want to go near water, you know, lighthouse, water. And the day that I went to the Lighthouse, this is it for me. This is it for me. I met one of the volunteers, Joan Singley. Joan was telling me about this bowling team and this bowling. I was like, who in the world can bowl with no sight? I went with Joan to one of her meetings, and I could see these people there just doing their thing. And I said, well, let me try this. I love it. I love it. I can go there on the days that we bowl, and if I'm angry at something, I take it out on the pins. I make quite a bit of strikes because I'm always got somebody I'm angry with. But we have a league now that's called One Desire. We chose the name One Desire because our desire is to see again. To see does not mean that you have to see with your eyes. You can see with your heart. You can see with your mind. Let me tell you, I did not think because I had lost my vision that I could function. Since I have been bowling and meeting people, I'm more busy now than I was when I was working. Awesome place to be.
Learning happens for most people through incidental observations. So much of what we understand about the world comes to us through our visual senses. So for people who are visually impaired and blind, there has to be another way. We have to provide them with different kinds of understanding and introductions to concepts and social cues that they might otherwise miss, especially for children. But even for adults, it means learning how to do things in a different way.
the things that Grace is learning, she's knows her letters and her sounds, so she's learning to blend words together. She's learning to read words. She's learning to read sight words. She's learning to use a lot of adaptive equipment. Susan has her using the dome magnifier, which is a really neat little device. It's a very low-tech piece of equipment that Grace slides along a book or a puzzle, and it just enlarges the words so that they're a sufficient size for her to be able to read. She's got her working on an adaptive keyboard, a large print keyboard, so Grace can now type her name, her address, her phone number.
Is that in?
Yeah.
Yes, good job.
One of the really unique things about the services that Lighthouse delivers is that Grace is starting her journey as a lifelong learner, but she doesn't exactly realize that. When Susan comes weekly, she doesn't realize that Susan's here to teach her things.
Red dot.
One red dot.
She thinks Susan's here to play with her. And when she says her prayers, she thanks God for Miss Susan coming to play with her and the fun that she has with her, which is really unique and important to a 4-year-old, that especially a 4-year-old that faces the kind of challenges that Grace faces, because she does physical therapy, she does occupational therapy, that not everything is a task, that not everything is a chore, that there's delight in what she does. What Susan is helping her to do is to build a love of learning, to create a love of learning, and to be a confident learner and a risk taker, because that's what she's going to have to be in order to succeed.
Earning, this is one of the beams that is most important to us. It's not enough to have those first two. What happens to people who learn and take advantage of education and reach the highest pillars of education, can take care of themselves, know how to move and travel and interact with people effectively, but still can't get a job? What does that say about a person's life? They should have the opportunities, just like people who are sighted, to have careers, to be gainfully employed, be able to take care of themselves and their families, live life with dignity.
Chris's visual impairment doesn't get in the way of him being a great father, a wonderful husband. He earns the money for our household, and he does so many things, and he provides so much for our family.
My wife and my family are my whole life. They're the most important thing to me. One challenge that I face is not being able to drive. In the morning, I get up at 5 o'clock and I carpool with some individuals to the bus stop. The whole trip one way is about 90 minutes, and I do that twice a day. I understand that I have to press on no matter what, not only for myself, but because I have 5 other people depending on me.
He doesn't let it bring him down that he cannot see as well as most people, that he hardly can see at all. And it's to the point where I almost forget sometimes that he is visually impaired, because he just goes about his life and he's not depressed about it. And things can bring me down, and I look to him and I think, wow, I should be more like him, because he has these challenges and it doesn't bother him. And after our first baby was born, I was so happy that I could see her face, and Chris had to hold her and feel her face to even know what she looked like. So, and it's things like that I just take for granted. It just makes me feel so blessed of what I have, but even more blessed that I have Chris, because he's a constant reminder to me of how we should be and how our lives are so great.
I'd like to say this to all individuals that are totally blind, visually impaired. You got this much, you have a lot. Do not give up. There is life after blindness.
If there were no Lighthouse and no services for early intervention, there is a really good chance that Grace would face a lot of developmental delays. Lighthouse providing these services in a playful way to young kids is allowing them to grow and develop and to meet the same expectations that their non-visually impaired peers are meeting.
There's nothing fun about dealing with vision loss. It's a challenge and it's hard. Every part of your life, from getting up in the morning to getting dressed, to eating breakfast, to figuring out how you're going to get out the door, and when you get out the door, where you're going to go, how you're going to work, how you're going to raise a family, it's very overwhelming. But if you break it apart into pieces and tackle one challenge at a time, there's so many resources and so many great people out there that if you have a good attitude and faith and press on, it will ultimately be okay.
My name is Yvonne Gray, and I am living.
I'm Grace, and I am living.
My name is Chris Sacca, and I am earning.